All right, good day, class. This is the first video for the World History, Chapter 1.1. Before we start, I want to set a little kind of like ground rules in a sense. Um, if you have the packet, you're ready to go. But if you don't have the packet, let's say you're just checking the first day it comes out, things like that, and you haven't been to class, you can still take the notes. Just be sure you do it on a lined sheet of paper, and also that you put it in the categories they fall into. For example, like warm up. That's the first thing we're going to do after the slide. So be sure on the side you put warm up. Give your responses, maybe give a space, and then put notes on the side. Take the notes. Um, when we get to the question, you can put on the side question and then give your response. Okay, that way I can see it and I can visually go, okay, there's the warm up, there's the notes, there's the questions they answered. Okay, instead of it just all rambling on and it makes it hard for me to see the difference. All right, so with that being said, let us begin. All right, there's one thing I forgot to mention too. That remember, this is a video, so you can go at your own pace. If I speak too fast or going too fast, you can always stop it, rewind it, go back. So go at your own pace. Um, and if there's something you missed, you can always go back to it. Okay, that's why I make these videos. All right. Now here is your warm up. Now look at it, analyze it. What do you see? Okay, if you want to make a little short list of things you see, fine. If you want to just make a sentence out of it, fine. But just the important thing is that you write down what you see. Okay. Now the second question to this is, what do you think this artist is trying to say? All right. Now you have to remember, this is back in the day, long time ago. So this is the only way that they really could speak and tell their history or tell about a special event, or a significant event, in their culture, in their tribe's history, things like that. So what do you think happened, is going on? What do you think this artist person is trying to say? All right, so here are the notes. Thing is, historians, they rely on proof, some form of documentation written on paper or paintings, things like that, to help us basically say what happened. Okay, that's what makes studying early man really difficult, because all we have is fragmented stuff. You know, tools, pottery, even bones, and that helps us piece together what the past was like for them, so it helps us to give a visual, to, say, okay, this is how they lived, this is what they ate, more likely this is how they spoke, you know, things like that. Cave paintings also help us to understand how life was for them, because a lot of times they are putting part of their history on there. They didn't just say, hey, I'm going to just smear some stuff on there and that's it. No, it's a part of their history, part of their lives, and they put up there for future generations to see and know about them. So that's nice. Now, a hominid, and I hope I pronounced that right, is a man-like creature that walked upright. Not down low, not on all fours, but upright. 2 feet upright. A student earlier asked me, what about birds? They walk on 2 feet. It's like, no, they rely on flight. We people rely on 2 feet constantly. So I thought that was funny. Okay, so now we're going to get into the Homo sapiens. Now, the thing is, there were basically two sorts of man back in the day. There was Neanderthal and Homo sapien sapien. Now, this is how it breaks down if you wanted to do like a tail of the tape type of thing. Let's start off with Neanderthals. First off, they were first found in Germany. They lived around 100,000 to 30,000 years ago. Um, their remains can be found all over Europe and Turkey. Um, what was significant about them is they were the first to use stone tools. They realized, man, I can't crack this open. So what they did was got stone and basically, hey, oh wow, look at this, it works. What else could I do with it? And they created tools out of stone. The other interesting thing was that they buried their dead. Now that's significant. That's very interesting. Because things would just die, right? And these guys, they actually decided, out of respect for the dead person, to bury it. More likely to make sure the animals don't eat it. And chances are they buried it, put rocks over it so that the person body, so that animals try to, like wolves or whatever, try to dig in there to get it. They had to go through rock, and rock is kind of hard to dig out. you know. So the other thing was Homo sapiens. Now, Homo sapiens have a similar anatomy to us. Okay, the Neanderthals were a little bit shorter, more stockier type of thing, structured, but the Homo sapiens basically had the same similar anatomy as us. They first appeared in Africa about 150,000 to 200,000 years ago. Around 30,000 BC, they sort of took over the Neanderthal. Um, the thing is, no one knows for sure like what happened, whether there was fighting. They bred together, you know, like a Neanderthal and Homo sapien got together, and then their kid was with the Homo sapien, and then their kid too had a relationship with the Homo sapien, and it's just the Neanderthal gene just basically went away. We don't know. Um, Also, they were nomads. Now, nomads are basically people or a tribe or group of people who wander where the food goes. So, if the herd is traveling south, guess where they're going? They're traveling south too. They go where the food goes. Um, and the thing is, we can, again, going back to the ancestry, we can trace our roots back to Homo sapiens sapiens and not really Neanderthals. All right, so here is your first warm-up question. What would early man have to do or learn to do if he wanted to settle? Now remember, we talked about this, that nomads chase the food. So if early man wanted to settle in one area, what would it take? What would they have to do or learn to do? All right. Now I understand some people want to start off this question with like because or things like that. So to help you learn the right and the right structure uh, in English, I put this writing prompt on there for you. I think that early man would have to what? What do you think that they would have to learn to do? Um, because and then give your response. Now, here's the thing: these questions carry a lot of points. All right. Yes, you will get your point for or two for the first response, the first blank, but the second blank, the because part, the reason, that is worth a lot of points. That's what I'm interested in reading. Um, so if you make a valid point, yeah, you're gonna get all the points. If it seems like you're stretching it a bit, you'll still get some points. But if it's something that makes no sense whatsoever, or if you copy it off somebody else in the class or any other class, then yeah, you're getting 0. Okay, just letting you know that. Now, I'm not getting on video so that it's permanent. Now, the question we have to ask ourselves is this: how did early man get its food? Well, we talked about the nomads. They wandered around, they hunt. Other ways, they saw food on plants and trees and things like that, bushes. Um, Through trial and error and through generations, they learned what plants produced food, what didn't, what food can you eat, what can't you eat, and things like that. So knowledge was passed down. They remember it, especially when it comes to survival. You tend to remember what is good for you and what might kill you. Just saying. Uh, Now, the two ways to maintain food constantly throughout the year is by either growing crops and farming animals. Okay, domesticated them, making them from wild animals to tamed animals. And that's what the Neolithic Revolution was. It was basically a revolution where early man learned, you know what, if we settle down here near water, um, we can grow food. We got water for us, water for the plants, water for the animals. And if we get the animals and tame them, make them like, you know, get the guy and girl, wild boar to have kids, or a sheep, guy and girl to have babies, then we're gonna have plenty of meat and milk and wool, you know, later on. So grains and vegetables were stable and constant, um, especially grains, because grains can last all year long as they're stored well. Um, the other thing is the animals, they provided the meat, milk, and wool, like I mentioned earlier. And other animals were used for their strength or abilities. So things like oxes, you know, oxes were used to plow. Um, Wild, wolves, became basically dogs. They helped us hunt and stuff like that. We kept them, we trained them, we took care of them, and they helped us out. So that's why, dogs are man's best friend and not really cats, because a dog can do more stuff. Just a little jab at cat lovers. Sorry. All right. So when it came to food, they settled that. Now it comes to shelter. Now there are three major types of shelter that there was for them back then. One was caves, nature's own design, stuff like that. The other one was tents and teepees, which a lot of nomads used because it was light to carry and it was easy to set up and then put away. But still, even civilizations that settled down, tended to have teepees as well. The other one was stone walls, especially those who were going to settle. Hey, this is our place, this is our home. We want to keep it ourselves safe from the elements, the weather, um, from animals, so we feel safe and secure. That was a way. Okay. Now, according to most historians, there are six important things when it comes to civilization. One of them is cities. The other thing is governments. The other thing is religion, some form of religion. All right. The other one is social structure. People need to know where they belong. You know, there's a leader, the leader, his helpers, this and that, and then the lower people. Also structure in family, fathers, mothers, sons, daughters. What is their role in the tribe? Writing, some form of writing, some form of communication needs to be set up for them. And last thing is art. Now, I know a lot of people think, well, why art? Well, because art's a way of expression, either for themselves, to keep it for themselves, or for the world to see. They needed some form of art. All right. So now here is your final question. What do you think would happen if an early city had a lot of food and there were nomads nearby? Remember, nomads traveled in groups. What do you think would happen? All right, so let your imagination run a little bit wild on this one. Okay, so think about it and then write. There's a writing prompt on the bottom. If there were nomads near a city with a lot of food, they would blank. So what do you think they would do? Okay, now why do you think they would do this? That would be your explanation. Okay, now once you're finished with this, you're finished with the lesson. Congratulations, you're done. Now, when you go back to class, be sure this packet or your notes have your name on it. And right when you come in the door, there is a black basket right to the side on top of a bookshelf. It's right there. It's You'll see some papers in it by the time your class gets in there. Just stick it on top of there and you're good. Okay. So I hope you learned something new and hope you have a good day. All right. See you later.